Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Hailing Frequencies Open podcast. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to a man with an incredible mission, a project a certain Vulcan would describe as fascinating. To tell us more about this truly incredible venture, Mr. Trek. Mike, thank you for taking the time and coming on this evening.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for inviting me on to your podcast. Just had to do that. I'm sorry. It's just thank you for inviting me on. I'm really excited to be here talking with you and sharing with what I'm doing. Yeah. So it is, as you say, it's an incredible mission, and
It
it's a
really
big
is. I
mission.
mean, as soon as I discovered your channel, like last week, literally,
Yeah.
I subscribed because I can't wait to see how this progresses. But before
Awesome.
we get to the mission, would you like to just give us a little bit of background?
Yeah. Okay. So originally, I'm from Manchester in the UK. I've been a Star Trek fan since I was 6, from the word go. As I say in a few other of my videos on my channel, that very first time I heard those notes when I was 6, that kind of opening of Star Trek, that
Yeah.
ding, 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 boom, that was it, and it's not stopped since. I mean, this is like I'm 58 now, and it's so that's a long time that I've been a fan, and I've watched all the series many times, as many of us have. Um, by profession, I'm actually a yoga teacher by
Ah,
profession. Yeah, but in my spare time, which is more and more these days, I'm really getting into working this original series Star Trek thing, and of course, since I got into discovering YouTube, I suddenly realized that wow, this is not something that I'm doing just by myself at home. I can share this with the fan base, and that also is super inspiring for me because I have a passion for it, and to realize that there are so many other people that have the same passion. Uh, it just it just gives me a buzz. Really amazing. So um, yeah, that's it. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm just in the middle of beginning the build, so we're right at the start of the mission, which I think will be a 5-year mission, maybe.
please do tell us, please, about this mission. What you plan to do, because it's incredible. It really is.
The plan I mean, it's a crazy mission. I don't think I mean, and it's never been done before. This
I
has
don't
never
think
been
so.
done before.
Hmm.
Um, for one thing, it's the entire interior of the ship, from the bridge all the way down through the saucer section, dorsal section, secondary hull to deck 24 on the hull bottom, to build the whole thing as a
And
physical
to be
model, not on the
clear,
computer.
yeah, and just to be clear, Mike, sorry, it's the original NCC 1701 from the original series.
The one and only,
Hmm.
the
The one and only.
1701, just
Yeah.
the original, absolutely. So I'm building it in 1/25th scale, and I made another model tonight, which I'll be posting in a video either tonight or tomorrow, of a portion of the corridor in the secondary hull, and basically it's just to see how big is 1/25th scale, and it's quite big. So this model is going to be the biggest model of the USS Enterprise ever made. So I'm quite proud about that.
Yes.
And there's been some big models, like the
Hmm.
11-foot studio model,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But this thing is going to be huge. It's going to be enormous. And really, that's one of the reasons why I'm hoping to get a good following on YouTube, because at some point, I'm definitely going to have to move this into uh, quite a substantially large studio to do it. So that's it. And, I'm going, as much as I can, I'm going to try to stay faithful to what we saw on the show, maybe a few modifications here and there. But in the areas that we didn't see in the show, then I'm just going to apply a little bit of creative license, and maybe just update the interior slightly, but not too much. It's going to be pretty faithful to the original interior. Every room, every deck, every turbo lift, every chair. You imagine how many chairs?
I know. Yeah.
How
Right.
many
Yeah. Right.
chairs are on it?
It really is going to take a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll
Well,
take the 5 years?
It depends. I mean, if it was just me doing it, it probably would take 5 years, and I probably would be slightly mad after. So my idea is to, again, hopefully when it gets momentum and it gets on board, and my channel starts to grow, my idea is to move into a larger studio
Hmm.
and possibly employ maybe 2 or 3 other skilled model makers. So it ends up with a team of
Yes.
people so that we can support each other in the build, and just work together to create this thing, because that is also a big element of it, is the morale to do it. I mean, you start off with something like this, and you start with the bridge, and it's all great, and it's looking fantastic. And then after a lot of work, you realize, wow, okay, now I'm going down onto deck 2. And after a while, that could become a real challenge of motivation and morale.
Hmm.
But if you've got a small team of people working, and you know that somebody is working there just on the chairs or on the tables or on the elevator doors or whatever, and you just kind of working together, and there's a real support group, then, and probably not take 5 years,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
3 years, like the original show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're very,
So
yeah, true, true. And but I mean, it's talk about a labor of love. But how are you planning to display it? Are you going to do like a cutaway? Is it like a cutaway of the ship, or are you just going to have it all in separate sections? Or
that's a really good question. I think at the moment it's just going to be laid out on like a flat, like big table for
okay,
each deck, or maybe stacked on top of each other. Um, but yeah, that is definitely a logistic issue that will present itself, because I mean, 1/25th scale, the saucer section is going to be huge. Like deck
enormous.
six,
Yeah.
deck six will be massive. So it could be that the project develops in different ways. Like you suggested, is it like a cutaway, or is it partial sections
Hmm.
with that kind of thing? So that is open at the moment, um, because I do realise that I mean, even to lay out the entire ship, each deck on its own table, I mean, football stadium
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for that size.
When it's finished, have you plans for it?
But I think one of the things that I will do is I'll build it in segments,
Hmm.
so that when the whole thing is finished, you can take like sections off and
Yes.
transport that. So again, I've got no idea what would happen to that, but I think a wise thing to do would be to build it in segments, because then it might be that I donate segments to, I don't know, Star Trek fan groups,
Hmm.
or this is another thing, because if my channel grows, then that is like a successful mission for me. If I get a large following, then I would be more than happy to, I don't know, do some kind of like a thing where I send sections of this model for free to people that have supported the channel, or to subscribers that have supported the channel. So, somebody, we might do like a lottery where people draw, no, not a lottery, like a prize draw,
Hmm.
where people draw the name out, and it's like, whoever draws this out, hey man, you just won the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I would send the bridge to those people. And, and
Yeah.
and this is why it's so cool, because I would send that for free, because my benefit is in the amount of subscribers that I can get on YouTube, and how I can grow that channel. And then once that is done, then I do have, without giving anything away, I do have some epic future ideas going on in this crazy head, like that you wouldn't believe. And the fantastic thing is, it can be done with enough support and enough subscribers and enough support. It can just be done, and it's so exciting
Hmm. It
to
really
think that you
is.
can do that, and show it,
Yeah,
show
and I
it
was just thinking as well, you could actually tour the country with to Comic Cons.
completely,
Sure,
completely.
you'd get a section, no problem, if you
Yeah,
were to turn up
absolutely,
at the bridge.
absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, do you think you'd have the bridge done by August? You could bring it over to
Well,
Dublin Comic Con.
seriously, Dan. I mean, wow. I mean, if this, if my channel grows and I can feel the motivation, and I feel that kind of like, wow, it's happening. I'm here every day. like 8 or 10 hours a day modeling. So the bridge could easily be finished by August. So it's those kind of suggestions that you're making, those kind of ideas that are really inspiring, because yeah, I mean, there's all the Comic-Cons, touring with it,
Mm-hmm.
showing it, giving pieces away. I mean, Deck 6, I could just say, look, I'm just giving a model away. Deck 6 is sectioned out into like maybe 20 different sections, 30, 40 different sections that people can manage in the as a tabletop model.
Yeah, yeah.
Just say, look, I'm going to be at Comic-Con. Come along, subscribe to my channel, and take away a piece of the enterprise with you, like a scratch-built model. So those are great ideas, just incredible ideas.
Yeah.
So
It would really work as well. I mean, you'd get a spot in one, and all of them, no problem, no
yeah,
problem, absolutely. And tell me, what, like, how you as in, what materials do you use?
paper and glue.
Yeah.
Paper and glue. That's it. I mean, I'm using foam core a lot. Foam
What's
core
foam
is very
core? Is
easy
that
to.
like foam board?
Yeah, it's very light
Oh
but
yeah, I
very
think I know.
strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Super fantastic to work with. It's very easy to cut with a craft knife. So I'm working with different thicknesses of foam core, modeling card which is a bit thinner but still very strong for the more detailed areas, all the way down to pieces of paper for very fine detailed areas,
Mm-hmm.
and wood glue.
Yeah,
And that's it.
yeah. And
Colored
I
paper,
looked
wood
at your
glue.
video there the other day about the doors design.
It's amazing. Like my girlfriend's on the sofa and I'm just like doing this model thing
Yeah.
like this, and next thing you know, there's this thing with these sliding doors, and she's like, "Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow, that was so great! It looks so real."
Yeah.
So it's really
Uh,
good fun.
It really is old school modeling, isn't it? You can't
Completely,
get any more old school than this.
completely. And I completely love the idea of the CGI stuff. Working on the computer. There's a guy at the moment in one of the original series fan groups who's just done an incredible piece of work on computer graphics, and he's showing some pictures of Deck 5 of the original ship, and it looks fantastic. So I'm really open to that as well. But for me, I mean, obviously probably to do with my age and everything, I just love the old school modeling. And as I say in many of my videos, it's got soul. For me, it has soul. I can actually feel it, and I can make it, and it's there in front of me as a physical thing that I can touch.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I love the CGI stuff, but for me, it's absolute old school modeling, which at some point may merge with computer work as well, and that kind of thing. So I'm not close to CGI, but
Sure. Yeah. But I mean,
this is definitely old school.
yeah, and of course, and I mean, the way you're doing it is almost like how they built it originally in the 60s,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. So I mean,
yeah.
you're even paying homage to that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even the way they built the sets and the way they built, you did. I think there's that thing on the internet at the moment where you can see how there's a small model of the original set of how it was on the Desilu Studios or something. So just things like that. Yeah, it's a homage to the way it was done.
And I looked at your video there as well about the cereal box, the inside of the Galileo cereal box.
Ah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. How old were you when you did that?
I was, again, I was around about 6 or 7.
Right.
And that cereal box thing, it was also inspired by Planet of the Apes, because the original movie with
Hmm.
Charlton Heston, the opening crash scene of
Yes.
the Icarus coming
Mm.
into crash into the water. I was really taken by that, and one day I just had this like cereal box, and I cut a thing out the bottom, as I was moving my head, it's like, wow, this looks like the opening scene to Planet of the Apes. So I'm out in the garden, just kind of like, moving into the grass with this cereal box on my head. So a lot of inspiration from those days back. And, like I say, in this day where we have the technology like YouTube, where we have the technology to actually show this kind of thing, and, GoPro cameras that you can put inside these little models. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like something where, wow, I can actually realize in an adult version these kind of like amazing imaginations that I had when I was a kid. So it's quite incredible to be able to do that. So yeah, it's a wonderful time as far as that goes. Definitely.
And for a 6-year-old, I mean, there's amazing detail.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Even though it is just pieces of cardboard that are folded
Sure,
and
yeah,
then stuck on to
but
look
it's
like sweets.
imagination, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, my mind was filling in the rest, filling in the blanks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
And what work have you done before that to kind of prepare you to do the enterprise?
To prepare me to, I've done a lot of work to do that. Don't know if you can see this. This is the very first thing that I did, which is
Oh, brilliant.
my TARDIS model.
That's
So
fantastic.
this is 15 years old now. So this is the first kind of modeling thing that I did, and I don't know if you can see inside it. You can see
Yeah,
inside.
I can, yeah. And I love the way you put the mirrors in there to make it look
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
Very good.
So that was the very first thing about 15 years ago. But even before then, you know, when I was from the age of 6 years old and the cereal box, even after that, I was building like spaceship interiors and corridors all the way through, you know, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, all the way really. But it's only recently with the TARDIS model here, when I got an art studio, that I realized that, wow, I'm actually okay at this. You know, I can make some pretty good stuff out of cardboard. And that model there led to a full size version that I made of the TARDIS. And
Okay.
then just from there, really, it's just, you know, just the realization that whether it's a 1/25th scale or a full size, the process is the same, just you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
different levels. So,
Mhm.
and then, you know, as you can see in some of my previous videos on Mr. Trek, that I've already built the bridge, which was actually 20 years ago now.
Right.
So
Right.
that was my first Star Trek model that I made, and then just crazy little things like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, just lots and lots of like full scale models, small sketch models, the whole thing really. So I feel as though I'm prepared.
And all with the foam, with like the foam board and paper, or essentially they are the tools.
Yep, all with the foam core,
Yeah.
paper, glue, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's all pretty simple
Yeah. Yeah.
but effective.
But very effective. I mean,
Yeah.
the end result is stunning.
I like to think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you do like Revell or AMT models, anything like that, or do you just stick to your own?
No, no. If I'm really honest, I find I'm more of a person that really wants to explore new
Yes.
stuff, which might sound a bit weird because you're saying, hang on a minute, you know, you're building the interior of the Enterprise, so that's not new, but I do like to just build things that are not really from kits, and if I use a kit, I like to use parts of it in something else that I'm making. Like a while back, I made like an interior corridor of like the Nostromo,
Hmm.
and that was made with foam core and card. Well, then I went out into an electrical DIY shop, and I was in heaven looking at all these tiny bits and panels that are used for electricity fittings. That I'm just thinking, wow, these are like, this is it. These, and that's what Ridley Scott did. He actually went out and got all these bits from DIY stores. And when he made the exterior and the interior model of the Nostromo, it was all just bits from all over the place, like stuck on to look right. You know,
Hmm.
all those pipes just
Hmm.
stuck on to look right and then spray painted and the whole thing. So I like to do that, but to just do a kit, like say, you know, to go out and buy the Enterprise and make that just as a standard kit, it wouldn't do much for me if I'm honest.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
my thoughts here are is that I want to like build an enterprise that's just enormous,
Yes. Yeah.
massive.
And when you light it, for the
Yeah,
bridge, for example, and the nacelles and stuff.
yeah, definitely put lighting in it. But that's kind of something that I'm really going to look into because I mean now we've got the LED lighting, of course, which makes things a lot easier. Like 20 years ago, I was using little bulbs
Yeah,
with
yeah.
wires in it, and it was like
Mm.
effective, but not really
Very, very
practical.
can be very difficult. I did a 1537 scale Enterprise A there about
Yep,
a year ago, and it was
yep,
the little LED bulbs, and it was a nightmare. But
yeah,
the finished product is looks great,
yeah,
but hard. But whereas
yeah,
I
hard
did
work.
the bridge, I think you saw my bridge that I finished,
Yeah,
and
incredible work.
thank you. And that's literally one strip of LEDs.
Really,
That's how, yeah, yeah,
well,
so easy.
around.
Yeah, just literally
Yeah,
wrapped around. So the
yeah,
little wall I built
yep, yep,
behind the panels has
yep.
literally a strip going around it,
Little strip going around,
and
which
that's
is
it.
actually essentially the way they did it on the full size set back in the 60s, right? So
Yeah,
they would have the wall, and then on the outside they just have all the floodlights on the screens and
yeah, yeah.
stuff like that, and then on the other side it looks so high tech.
I mean, it really did. Even though in the original series you can see the gaps in the panels and things like that, you can see the little flaws. And when I built the bridge, I actually purposely left those gaps
Oh,
because I
okay,
wanted it to look like the TV set.
just like the TV set. Yeah,
And so I purposely left little gaps and things like that. When I realized, I was going to light it. So I said, but how am I going to light it? Because I'm going to have to hide the lighting. I don't want people seeing the lights and around the side and
yep,
stuff. But
yep,
I must say, like you were saying about how you get more enjoyment building your own kits. I must
yep,
say, doing that little diorama, I suppose that I did, I had great fun doing it with the foam
yep,
boards. Like it
yep.
is actually great fun.
And it looks fantastic. When I saw it, I just thought, wow, okay, I'm going to use this guy's build as a reference for when I do my bridge because I mean it was just made so skillfully.
Thank you.
Um, no, I loved it, and I really appreciate that. And it's one of the things about YouTube is to connect with people like you, who clearly are a very skillful model maker, and to actually learn from you and get ideas from you, and then from the YouTube community. Really, I mean, there is some incredible skill out there. I mean, yourself when if you see some of these dioramas that people are building, it's just stunning.
Oh,
I,
it's incredible, some of them.
I'm stunned by it. It's like, my
Mhm.
God, and very inspiring as well. It's
I
almost as if the human creativity is really shining.
Oh, very much so. And I must say, I have to ask you, I hope now, maybe X amount of months down the road, I'd love to have you come back on for updates. Obviously, of course, I
Totally.
know you have your channel and you'll be doing your updates there, but I'd love to have you back.
Oh, I would
So
love to. I
you
would
could
love
give us
to.
updates,
Yeah.
because it's really
I,
great. I know I'll be watching all the videos anyway with
I
great
promise
interest.
you, Danny, if the channel starts to rock and go, and you bring me back on in another couple of months, I'm going to be sat in the I'm going to be sat in the transporter room here with my
Yeah,
outfit on, with
yeah,
my
good, good.
series outfit on, completely so cool.
Good.
Yeah.
No, really, really looking forward to it. So, Mike, I think we'll leave it there. As I said earlier, I'd love to have you come back in a few months to give us progress updates.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I've really enjoyed talking to you and connecting to you as a fellow YouTuber and a fellow Star Trek fan. So thank you very much, and I hope to come on again in a few months down the line.
Fantastic. I will talk to you then. Thanks a million, Mike. All the best.
Thanks, Dan. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. Until the next time, Hailing Frequencies closed. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell too. Thank you.